Good morning, everyone. Oh, man. Hope everybody is having a good day so far. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late this morning. It has been a long week. So let me go over here to Facebook and see if I am live streaming right now. I doubt it. Probably gonna have to go on it through Facebook itself again. Let me see. Nope. So I'm gonna go live through Facebook as well. Wow. Go live. I need to turn the camera around. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Wow. Rearranged the room yesterday. I have not smoked a drag off of a cigarette since early this morning. I went all day yesterday with only smoking like maybe 2 cigarettes. So I'm doing better on it. I don't want to smoke anymore. I'm tired of smoking. So, yeah. So I am a recovering alcoholic and non-smoker. Pretty proud. So today is AA Day, and you all know that what the rules are. Please, no judgment, no harassment. Be kind to each other in the chats. Same here on Facebook as well. Please do not judge people. Just because they are in here does not mean that they are an alcoholic. They might be supporting a family friend or uh, family member or a stranger, somebody that they know that has this problem, or if they just want to learn something and listen in on a meeting. Maybe they can use it in something in their everyday life. But we do have some of those as well. So just because they are in the chat does not mean that they are an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic or have even drank a day in their life, because I know some people that watch have not drank. So I usually start by saying the Serenity Prayer, and then I read or say them because I know them by heart. The steps, which you can find in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, in the contents. I do put in the description, which if you're watching the replay, it will pop up with my video and it will say more on it. And this is for YouTube. Um, if it says more, which usually it does if there's something in the description, I always put what book we're reading, what page we're on, and what the story is that we are reading. So please know that that's there. And if you don't have a book, it's all right. I'm going to read it anyways. And I just hope it helps. So, um, but yeah, we go one day at a time. And every day is not easy, but that's what we got to do. One day, 1 hour, 1 minute, so yes. But definitely, the quit smoking is I'm having the withdrawals from the nicotine, but I am fighting it the best I can. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. 1. We admitted that we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends wherever possible, except for when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And we are in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Mine is a 4th edition. Not all of them are the same. So you might be on a different page if you're in a different edition. But we are reading The Man Who Mastered Fear, and we are on 252, and I'm going to start at during my first few. During my first few months in Akron, I was quite sure that I never wanted to see my hometown again. Too many economic and social problems would beset me there. I would make a fresh start somewhere else. After 6 months of sobriety, I saw the picture in a different light. Detroit was the place I had to return to, not only because I must face the mess I had made there, but because it was there that I could be of the most service to AA. In the spring of 1939, Bill stopped off in Akron on his way to Detroit on business. I jumped at the suggestion that I accompany him. We spent 2 days there together before he returned to New York. Friends invited me to stay on for as long as I cared to. I remained with them for 3 weeks, using part of the time in making many amends which I had had no earlier opportunity to make. The rest of the time was devoted to AA spade work. I wanted ripe prospects, and I didn't feel that I would get very far chasing individual drunks in and out of bars. So I spent much of my time calling on the people who I felt would logically come in contact with alcoholic cases: doctors, ministers, lawyers, and the personal men in industry. I also talked AA to every friend who would listen. At lunch, at dinner, on street corners, a doctor tipped me off to my first prospect. I landed him and shipped him by train to Akron with a pint of whiskey in his pocket to keep him from wanting to get off the train in Toledo. Nothing has ever to this day equaled the thrill of that first case. Just a second, guys. Mike, can you get me that cappuccino, please? Those 3 weeks left me completely exhausted. I had to return to Akron for 3 more months rest. While there, 2 or 3 more cash customers, as Dr. Bob used to call them, probably because they had so little cash, were shipped in to us from Detroit. When I finally returned to Detroit, or Detroit to find work and to learn to stand on my own feet. The ball was already rolling, however slowly, but it took 6 more months of work and disappointments before a group of 3 men got together in my rooming house bedroom for their first AA meeting. It sounded simple, but there were obstacles and doubts to overcome. I well remember a session I had with myself soon after I returned. I ran something like this, or it ran something like this. If I go around shouting from the rooftops about my alcoholism, it might very possibly prevent me from getting a good job. But supporting that just one man died because I had, for selfish reasons, kept my mouth shut. No, I was supposed to be doing God's will, not mine. His road lay clear before me, and I'd better quit rationalizing myself into any detours. I could not expect to keep what I had gained unless I gave it away. That depression was still on, and jobs were scarce. My health was still uncertain, so I created a job for myself selling women's hosiery and men's made to order shirts. This gave me the freedom to do AA work and to rest my periods of 2 or 3 days when I became too exhausted to carry on. There were more than one occasion when I got up in the morning with just enough money for a coffee and toast and the bus fare to carry me to my appointment. No sale, no lunch. During that first year, however, I managed to make both ends meet and to avoid ever going back to my old habit pattern of borrowing money when I could not earn it. Here by itself was a great step forward. During the first 3 months, I carried on all these activities without a car, depending entirely on buses and streetcars. I, who always had to have a car at my immediate command, I, who had never made a speech in my life, and who would have been frightened sick at the prospect, stood up in front of Rotary groups in different parts of the city and talked about Alcoholics Anonymous. I, carried away with the desire to serve AA, gave what was probably one of the first radio broadcasts about AA. Living through a case of mic fright and feeling like $1 million when it was all over, I lived through a week of the fidget because I had agreed to address a group of alcoholic inmates in one of our state mental hospitals. There it was, the same reward, exhilarating at a mission accomplished. Do I have to tell you who gained the most out of all of this? Within a year of my return to Detroit, AA was a definitely established little group of about a dozen members, and I too was established in a modest but steady job, holding an independent dry cleaning route of my own. I was my own boss. It took 5 years of AA living and a substantial improvement in my health before I could take full-time office job where someone else was boss. Excuse me. This office job bought me brought me face to face with a problem that I had sidestepped all my adult life. Lack of training. This time I did something about it. I enrolled in a correspondence school that taught nothing about accounting. With this specialized training and a liberal business education in the School of Hard Knocks, I was able to set up shop some 2 years later as an independent accountant. 7 years of work in this field brought an opportunity to affiliate myself actively with one of my clients, a fellow AA. We complemented each other beautifully, as he is a born salesman and my taste is for finance and management. At long last, I am doing the kind of work I have always wanted to do, but never had the patience and emotional stability to train myself for. The AA program showed me the way to come down to earth, start from the bottom and work up. This represents another great change for me. In the long ago past, I used to start at the top and presi- president or treasurer and end up with the sheriff breathing down my neck. So for my business life, obviously I have overcome fear to sufficient degree to think I in terms of success in business. With God's help, I am able for one day at a time to carry business responsibilities that not many years ago I would not have dreamed of assuming. But what about my social life? What about those fears that once paralyzed me to the point of my become a semi hermit, a What about my fear of travel? It would be wonderful were I able to tell you that my confidence in God and my application of the 12 steps to my daily living have utterly banished fear. But this would not be the truth. The most accurate answer I can give you is this: fear has never again ruled my life since that day in September 1938, when I found that a power greater than myself could not only restore me to sanity, but could keep me both sober and sane. Never in 16 years have I dodged anything because I was afraid of it. I have faced life instead of running away from it. Some of the things that used to stop me in my tracks from fear still make me nervous in the anticipation of their doing. But once I kicked myself into doing them, nervousness disappeared and I enjoyed myself. In recent years, I have had the happy combination of life and money to travel occasionally. I am apt to get into quite an uproar for a day or two before starting, but I do start, and once started, I have a swell time. Let's see how much left to this one. Okay. Have I ever wanted a drink during these years? Only once did I suffer from a nearly overpowering compulsion to take a drink. Oddly enough, the circumstances and surroundings were pleasant. I was at a beautifully set dinner table. I was in a perfectly happy frame of mind. I had been in a year, and the last thing in my mind was a drink. There was a glass of sherry at my place. I was seized with an almost uncontrollable desire to reach out for it. I shut my eyes and asked for help. In 15 seconds or less, the feeling passed. There have also been numerous times when I have thought about taking a drink. Such thi- thinking unusually began with thoughts of the pleasant drinking of my youth. I learned early in my AA life that I could not afford to fondle such thoughts as you might fondle a pet, because this particular pet could grow into a monster. Instead, I quickly substitute one or another vivid scene from the nightmare of my later drinking. 20 odd years ago, I made a mess out of my one and only marriage. It was therefore not extraordinary that I should shy away from any serious thought of marriage for a great many years after joining AA. Here was something requiring a greater willingness to assume responsibility and a larger degree of compensation and give and take than even business requires of one. However, I might have felt deep down inside myself that living to the selfish life of a bachelor was only half living. By living alone, you can pretty much eliminate grief from your life, but you also eliminate joy. At any rate, the last great step towards a well rounded life still lay ahead of me. So 6 months ago, I acquired a ready made family consisting of one charming wife, 4 grown children to whom I am devoted, and 3 grandchildren. Being an alcoholic, I couldn't dream of doing anything by halves. My wife, a sister member in AA, had been a widow 9 years, and I had been single 18 years. The adjustments in such a case are difficult and take time, but we both feel that they are certainly worth it. We are both depending upon God and our use of the Alcoholics Anonymous program to help us make a success of this joint undertaking. Oops. In It is undoubtedly too soon for me to say how much of a success I shall be as a husband or me as a wife in time to come. I do feel, though, that the fact that I finally grew up to a point where I could even tackle such a job is the apex of the story of a man or woman who spent 18 years running away from life. So I I remember when I got sober, um, I I had moved away from my family and decided that not long after that. So I was gone away from home for 6 months. And that 6 months I did drink, but then November 15th, 2014, I decided no more. I woke up and said I was not going to drink anymore. Now, I had already gone out before that. I had been sober for a year. And I set myself up. So at that point, I wasn't strong enough to just keep it as no, I'm not going to drink that drink. I bought myself some of my favorite drinks, and that was a big mistake because all that did was put me right back down to the bottom and sneaking off the bars or uh, trying to grab all the change in the house to go get a beer. And um, during that 6 months, I had looked at my best friend, my sister, and I said, or I didn't look at her because I was already in Southern Oregon at that point. She called me and she was drunk. And I told her, do not ever call me again when you're drunk because I'm not drinking anymore and I don't want to have that part of my life affecting me anymore. I felt bad for telling her that she was like my father and only wanted to call when she was drunk. She's nothing like him, nothing at all like him. But the drinking for both of us, I'm sure it was the same feelings on her side. I might be wrong, but I have a wonderful relationship with my twin sister, my best friend. We have been sober. She got sober 8 months after me. 8 months. It's pretty remarkable because I don't see all of my progress. I know I have made a lot of progress in my journey. I've been learning to go with whatever is happening It's going to happen regardless of my say so or not. Sometimes I just have to compromise and say, okay. Um, and be okay with it. And I am happy that I am helping people with this gift that a friend pointed me to. AA has done a lot for me. It has done so much for me. It has made me realize that there is a better life sober. You're not going to feel like it, but truly it is. I know having my real emotions, my true feelings, is so much better than lying and saying, oh no, I'm fine, when I'm actually not. Because that's not good for me to not tell someone how something made me feel. Because then I'm just going to like blame them and then I've got to make amends to it. Which I have also learned by doing all these steps, you guys. I'm not kidding you. I use these steps every single day and not even realize it. I make amends like really fast. Um, I try not to judge people because it's not right. I don't like being judged, so I'm not going to judge you. Sometimes I do like think it every so often. I'm like, no, I can't be thinking like that. But my story is that um I was like this when I was in my last days of drinking. I just wanted to be alone. I wanted to be by myself. And being by myself isn't always good. Um, I don't miss worrying about where I'm going to get that next drink, how I'm going to have the money for that next drink, and all that stuff. And I too, like the fear that he felt, I have that too. Now, I hadn't had a job since my youngest son was a baby. And I got my first job before I was even a year sober. And my first thing that I did, just a minute, guys, I have to take this call real quick. All right, sorry about that. The husband calling me. He flipped his ring off in the middle of the night, and I found it this morning, so I left him a message to call me. Um, but yeah, for my first job, it wasn't a wonderful job, but I did enjoy doing what I was doing, and I too scream it from the rooftops. That's why I'm doing it here. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I want to help. I want to spread the message of Alcoholics Anonymous, just like he did. And so when I got my first job with camp hosting, I looked at the boss and I said, I'm a recovering alcoholic. When I had campers ask me if I wanted a beer, I was like, no, I'm a recovering alcoholic. So I learned that first year of my sobriety that I didn't have to be alone. I didn't have to do it alone. And I found a group that I could go to that could help me stay sober by showing me the steps, the books, the groups, telling me how I can go to a meeting anywhere. And it just means so much to me to be able to have this, to be able to share it. And so when I got my second job, I was like, hey, guess what? I'm talking to a boss. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And there was people behind me and I didn't care. And so one guy, he's like, you're a recovering alcoholic? And I was like, yes. And he goes, how long you got? And I said, 6 years. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, and every day's been worth it. Find AA. That's what I did. And I also said, you can do it. You just have to want it. And then I met Shannon. Well, Shannon and I got hired at the same time. And her and I talked about stuff like that. I told her, hey, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm not shy about that. I am not shy at all about saying I'm a recovering alcoholic. But I too get worried about uh, standing up and sharing my story. And here I am doing it live on Facebook and doing it live here on YouTube. It's something that I'm passionate about. And um, anybody that knows me, I do. I tell them, hey, I'm recovering alcoholic and this is what I'm doing. And this is what you can do. Um, you just need to want it bad enough for yourself. And it's not easy work. It is not easy by any means. And yeah. Deep breath, Shannon. Deep breath. Pray for him. That's what we got to do. Just pray for him, and you know, hopefully he'll get it. I know that's exactly how I felt when I got my job. It was so exciting to me. I was like, yes. Even though I had to wear a uniform, it was brown, of course. But even when I had to wear a uniform, I was like, yes, I got a job. I'm making my own money. And it felt good. Felt really good. And even now, I get to make my own schedule where I work now. And so if I know that I'm gonna feel like working on whatever day, I just say, okay, if that shift is available, I'm taking it. So yeah, I usually schedule myself for 3 days a week. So I'm pretty tired after that because I have back problems and all that. But I do not let it stop me from making an effort to do something. And it actually does help to go and go to work and have that on my mind. And it takes up some time of my being lonely feeling, and stuff like that. So I can completely relate with this story, and I relate to a lot of the stories. And I'm just proud that I can spread this help and um, let everybody know that you're not alone. There are a lot of us that are in the same thing and dealing with the bad bad part of life, and we're not all perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect, but we have to make steps for ourselves to make ourselves better for the others. But we can't do anything about others unless if we are doing ourselves first. And that's something that AA has taught me. My sobriety comes first, regardless. It comes first. Because if I'm not okay with something and I feel like I'm going to go drink, then that's not going to be good. So I need to deal with that first, right? And I don't have those thoughts anymore. But that comes, I've been almost 9 years sober. So, yeah, it is work, but it is worth every single day of it. And I'm just glad that I got this gift and I can share it. And I share it here on YouTube, Facebook. I just now started doing the Facebook Live just Saturday. And so I had never done a meeting here on Facebook. So, hi, Facebook. I hope this helps whoever on my friends list. And I just want to spread the positive things that happen when you choose the sobriety over everything. It is completely worth it. And you are worth it. You are worth it. Every single one of you guys are worth it. And I do 2 meetings a week. I do this meeting at 11 Pacific Standard Time on YouTube and now Facebook. And I do a meeting on Saturday, YouTube and Facebook at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I also do for my adventures, I go live on Wednesday mornings, unless if I'm working that shift. And so I've been working that shift lately. So probably at 1 p.m. I will go live for adventures. And I will get on with reading the 12 step or the daily reflections, which is an app that you can download on your phone or your tablet. Um, that's where I get mine. And it has a spot where you can put your days and years and all that in there. It calculates it for you and keeps track. So mine says I am 8 years, 10 months, and 25 days, or 3,251 days. And then you can read the daily reflection. So today is September 10th, or not September, it's October. It's October 10th. If somebody hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also. What a freedom I felt when this passage was pointed out to me. Suddenly I saw that I could do something about my anger. I could fix me instead of trying to fix them. I believe that there are no exceptions to the axiom. When I am angry, my anger is always self centered. I must keep reminding myself that I am human, that I am doing the best I can, even when that best is sometimes poor. So I ask God to remove all my anger and truly set me free. Yep. So, um, I don't know how to do the friend thing. Oh, hello. Glad you're here. I just read the daily reflection. Today we read over the Um, The Man Who Mastered Fear. If you want to go back and read it or watch the replay, I really appreciate it here on YouTube or here on Facebook. Um, I just want to share the things that I got for free, and that is my sobriety and my story. And having AA gave me the strength to have my voice and share my voice to let you know that you're not alone. You're not going to be alone. You might feel that way, but you have a whole group who is rooting you on, whether you know it or not. And I'm just so happy to be sober every day. And like Lily says, one day at a time. That's all we can do is one day at a time. And be strong and just know that you got this. You can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We just have to know that we are not by ourselves in this journey. We have friends, we have family who are rooting us on and cheering every day that we go without having that drink. And I am cheering for all of you and myself for doing a great job and being sober today and being here in the meeting today or watching the replay later. Just know that you're not alone and there's always a meeting. Just look one up. You type it in your Google search. I'm not sponsored by Google or anything, but you type it into your Google search and it will pull up meetings for you anywhere you are. So um, just know you're not alone. You always have a group. And that's going to conclude my meeting today. And I'm grateful for all of you guys being here. And I'm blessed to be able to share this journey with you guys and have you guys know that you can do it. I love you guys and have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Be safe.